13 flight controllers, listen up. Give me a go, no go for launch. Booster.
Go.
Retro.
Go.
Vital.
We go fly.
Guidance.
Guidance go.
Procedures.
Go.
Inco.
Go.
FAO.
We are go.
Capcom.
We're go fly.
Launch control, this is Houston. We are go for launch.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's entertainment.
So what's going on, Samuel and Dave and Shannon and Chris and Detecting Arizona, all you guys out there. Glad you all made it back again. Took last week off and basically was kind of getting refreshed and all that happy stuff. Kind of didn't do a video today like I was hoping to, but just didn't feel like it. So Got things to release. I just need to finish tweaking them a little bit. So
Turn that off. You're roasting me out.
first she tells me to turn it on so it'll be warm, and then next thing you know, she's hot flashing, even though she ain't got no reason to be. So,
It's got a heater down here and it's hot.
well, we're in a basement and it's freaking cold down here, and you said turn it on, so I did. There we go. So, how was everyone's Christmas out there? Mine was pretty good. I got some new toys, a lot of clothes, which I'm cool with because I hate shopping. So, hey there, Hughes man, what's going on? And got a bigger pulley puller, and got an extra probe from Field Piece so I can take my third temperature measurement of the pipe. And what else did I get? I got some gloves, and I don't know. Couldn't hardly think of it. I bought other things, on my own. Bought the Hillmore Swedger, the hydraulic one. I got that a week ago or what have you. I got the 1/4-inch head and all that. And I bought a Milwaukee hoodie. Bought that on the day before Christmas. So a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of something, whatever. So what's going on, Teddy Bear? And Joel and Alexander. I think there was a few others. I called them all out earlier, but guys didn't hear none of it. So it's always frustrating when you got to do it again. Mm-hmm. So tell everyone I don't want anything. Yeah, I always want something. I just don't know what it is I want. That's the problem a lot of times. I was looking for things to spend my tool account money on, and I finally found a few things, so can't complain. So you are really distracted over there.
I'm looking to see if there's any comments that we need to address.
Yeah, throw those out there. Give us something to talk about here. So
I'm seeing some new names in here I haven't seen before.
I'm okay with that. James Brown, I think that's a newer one.
Joel De La Cruz, Daniel Laser. I've not seen that name. Boy Wonder. I've not seen that one before.
Cool. Welcome aboard, guys. Hopefully you find it worthwhile to watch. Generally on these streams here is just kind of get to know you type thing and talk about whatever it is you guys might have questions on, kind of hang out, whatever. It's not real necessarily educated based, but it can be. Just depends whether you guys come up with some good questions and stuff, because a lot of times there's nothing in particular on the agenda to talk about, but we can talk about anything, honestly. We could do one of those ask me anything things. I don't care. I'm an open book. So
I kind of like what Detecting Arizona, he said, I hate telling people what I want because it's either too expensive or they get wrong stuff. Rick is very expensive to buy for, and majority of the time he just goes out and buys it, which ticks my mom off. He's gotten in trouble several years in a row because it's Christmas and he just goes out and buys whatever, and then my mom gets mad.
Well, I wanted a garage door opener, and I wanted a specific one, and I went and got it, and she's like, I was going to get that for you, thanks a lot. So, generally to make sure I get the right one, I literally will pick out the part number or give them a link right to it. That way they can't make a mistake. Like the extra polar I got a gear wrench, which I really like because it's got like a foot that kind of just swings over and it pivots. You can flop it around. I wanted the bigger one, but it was like $150 some, and then I found a couple on eBay for, I don't know, $70 plus shipping of being like $80. But I had her get me one from Tractor Supply that was $50, and it goes up to an 8-inch pulley. And so, for $50, it's really heavy built, and I figured, that was one of them got. Let's talk about.
Yeah, so Dave wants to know if you can still install new 404A systems in Ohio, or if everything is getting 440.
Far as I know, we're still able to do 404A. I think California, they're the weirdos out there that's got everything going balls to the wall, but eventually we're all going to get screwed into it. So I've seen the newest ones in 404, but I don't know what we've chose to go with yet. Far as, for the long-term thing, that's not my department. Far as what we got right now, it's the usual stuff. Nothing's really changed. So, yeah.
So, Dave, I'm curious, is that something that you're seeing in your area at all?
Well, 448 is probably a pretty good match for most things. I think that's what Stolding said they were going to go to for their ice cream machines. I've heard 410A for some ice machines. I don't know if anybody really knows. When you look through it, they all have they're undecided or whatever. So, yeah, we can get it. It just, it's the same stupidity. I mean, all this refrigerant crap is just pure stupidity, in my opinion. We're switching away from what they thought was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and now it's not no good. So, whatever.
So Alexander said they're selling it already there, and it costs double the amount of 404A.
Oh well, we don't pay the bill, so whatever. I enjoy it when people that vote for that kind of stuff, I love charging them for it, and I just wait for them to complain. But generally, the people that complain and vote like that generally don't care about money because it's just not important to them. So I just look for a reason to say something about it.
And Dave's saying that some of the guys are saying that their chat keeps like buffering. That's really weird.
Well, did you change anything far as...
Nope. Sure didn't.
I mean, far as I know, this thing's paused. It's not... it's not downloading anything.
Mine's paused too.
Don't have any other windows
So,
open.
I would just, make sure you have live chat on and not the top chat. So maybe that might be, I don't know.
Well, there was latency on this one. Did you pick the latency that was low, super low latency?
I don't know.
Well, that probably been important. So I don't know if it defaults back to that or not.
No, it's whatever you sent it to.
Well, you're watching it on there.
No, I'm not. It's paused.
But the chat should still scroll.
Correct. It is.
Okay. Well, then is it latent there?
No, not that I'm seeing.
Then it must be something possibly on your end. I don't know. Do a speed test on.
But there's a couple of different people, so I wonder if it's something with YouTube.
Could be. Who knows? I mean, we were hacked, pretty much on every government base, because the idiots all have the same protection mechanism. So they hacked the protection mechanism and we all got in.
So here's some comments. So Detecting Arizona, he's wondering if 410A will be good enough for ice machines. And Pro C says that Manitowoc is going to R290. Correct? He's asking that question.
I don't see how they're going to be able to do it. I think the limit's still at like 4 ounces or something like that. It's like super low. 6, I think, was a max, but I think it's like 4 or something like that. So I don't see how they could. But I've heard they're possibly going to switch things around and make it to a higher level because I know in other countries they've got it higher. I've heard 410A. I don't see why it probably wouldn't work. I mean, I know there's a couple of those Chinese manufacturers out there that's used it and it's worked. I've seen 410A even on an ice cream machine before. So, I mean, your compression ratios are like a lot higher, but we've been doing it with everything else.
And they're saying that the thing's good now, which we didn't change anything, so.
Yeah, it could have been just the Russians and the Chinese eating all the bandwidth up. Who knows?
That's what we'll blame it on.
Yep. CCP.
So Tony Del Grego said something about, what about the screws tripping on carrier collection box? Or is that supposed to be screws stripping, maybe?
We talking about the 90% residential units?
Could be.
Because I've had that maybe once before. I had to replace one. Actually, somebody else stripped it out, or they claimed it was like that from the factory. And I had to go back and change the collector box. It don't surprise me.
And you're getting a couple of comments on the new sign behind us.
Yeah, ain't that a nice looking sign? I mean, if you don't like the green, we can always go.
Yeah, let us know what color is your favorite.
Yeah,
we can just
go
we
red,
can just
purple,
change things. We got a remote.
Blue. What else we got? I got like a teal and real bright. I like the bright.
There's a yellow too.
Yeah, the yellow is kind of about right there-ish. I really like the greenish color though, something like that right there. Then you can also hit this thingy here. I think it'll kind of make it jump.
You can also make it go different colors too.
Make it tween, kind of like throbbing. Mm-hmm. I haven't read the instructions on how this thing works. I just keep pushing buttons until I get where I want it at. So you can dim it and all that crap. Monster brand, which, whatever. This little pig went to sleep. If she's going to sleep,
I know, it's cute though.
She's falling
cute.
backwards off my lap though. It's annoying.
James Brown said his son just moved to Columbus, Ohio for his job and that he's a master plumber. And his son...
Columbus is nice. I mean, it's only about...
He doesn't get into HVAC, but he likes listening.
Okay.
Yeah, so Columbus is not... I mean, it's far enough, but not too far.
No, I mean, we can be there in an hour and 45 minutes, something like that, depending on which side of Columbus you're going to be on.
Yep, some of your siblings. live down
well,
there.
all
so-
of them, but my brother
Yeah, they all live
all
down
live
there.
down there. So
And I went. That's
on
it.
my dad's biological dad's side.
And I went to OSU to get my spinal cord stimulator and stuff like that. So I mean, it's far enough, but not too far.
Yeah. You're way off the picture. Why don't you move this
Why
direction a
don't
little bit?
you move the camera just a smidge? You camera
Because I've
hog.
got the rack there in the middle of the screen, so I'm centered the camera. You're the one's like way out there, afraid to get near me.
William says he likes blue. Everything said looks great either way. Let's see what else we have. She's not going to be happy about that.
I don't care.
So I guess the units have been coming out of the factory stripped.
Oh, don't surprise me. Where are they made at?
China.
No.
Oh, okay.
They're soon to be, if they're not already in Mexico, they'll be soon going there because consequences.
So Pro C said, has anyone worked with, is it SECOP, C-Coop compressors? What's that?
Never heard of it. Unless it's like a weirdo name.
I've never seen that before.
Embarco or some crap's usually popular.
And William was asking, what days do you have to work?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I think.
And Friday. You work Monday through Friday
Isn't New
normally.
Year's Day on Friday? Let me look at the calendar here. I don't have a clue.
Probably. Christmas Day was on Friday.
New Year's,
so
yeah. So New Year's is on Friday. So we'll probably work till half a day on the 31st, which is kind of what we did on Christmas Eve. I was done, which is one of the videos I was going to do. It's pretty simple. Walk-in freezer was froze up on one corner.
So Arizona said he talked to you last week about that train that's not heating up that kept tripping his fuses. He says he has an update. Do you want him to call in and give us an update?
Did he call in before?
I don't know. I'll post the number in chat.
Talk to your assistant on head. Press and hold the icon. What the heck? This stupid phone's doing weird crap.
Let's see.
Let me go into and turn voice on. And it should be ready to go. And bring that up to there.
Type in your number in here.
Call the hit lines and let us know what it is you found out. We'd love to hear from you. There's for the world to see.
So yeah, give us a call.
Yeah. I shut the program when I'm like, not doing this, so it
We'd love to get an update from you, Arizona.
sure, why not? What are you doing, little beggar?
I told you she wasn't going to be happy with that.
She's not setting properly on my
well,
lap, though.
if your lap was just a little bit bigger, she wouldn't have a problem.
Well, she can sit on yours then.
Okay, so they're saying that C-Coop or whatever is Dan Foss.
Okay.
Same thing.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Yep. Nope, Mexico. Yeah, whatever.
So let's see.
Made in China. Oh, great. Buffering now. I wonder why.
I don't understand why it's doing that.
What,
we not
did
changed
you
it.
even make sure what type of resolution you were sending out?
No, it saves it from last time.
Oh, so it may be right. Not seeing a number. You should be able to see it if you
I was gonna
scroll
say,
up.
I'll do it again. Here you go, Arizona.
937-589-3780.
On the hit line.
Caller number 1.
And it looks like you don't have up here on this says top chat. That should be live chat.
Well, I didn't set that up, Chucky.
Well, I didn't either.
Now, does that change it for them, or does that change it just for us?
I don't know. I don't know all these things.
Now, why does it say 54 viewers in the top and the bottom left corner says 34? What the hell?
Whoa, I wonder if YouTube is... Yeah, that's so weird. I wonder if there's something funky going on with YouTube.
Well, you screwed with all that crap down there, so I wonder if it didn't cause a problem.
No, I don't know. That's
Chloe,
really
stay
weird.
down, or your butt's getting down.
Pause off the table. Yes, it's 937-589-3780.
You should have seen her bat wings there come out. You see that? She looks like she's in trouble. The freaking ears came out and went poof.
So yeah, 937
Like Dumbo. Anything in particular?
Ooh, so Alexander was saying that the good ones were made in Slovakia.
There's a lot of things made there.
And there's China-made ones too.
The Chinese can make good stuff if they want to. I think they have people telling them to build it really cheap, and then they build it cheap, and then that's what you get.
Mm-hmm. Cheap, cheap, cheap.
Yeah, that makes no sense why it would say that. I wonder which one's correct.
Rich, we've got the sign up.
Do you see it back there? I even changed my lens focal
Hey,
point.
Hambone, how's it going?
So it would show up more evidently back there in the back, because you can see the TXV sign on the right, my right, your left. So
We have a caller. Answer it all, DJ like.
welcome to the headline. You're caller number 1.
Hey, this is Detective Arizona here.
What's up, man?
Hey, how's my audio coming in?
You sound fine.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So, quick recap. Trane split system heat pump blowing fuses on my 24-volt wire. Was blowing fuses, calling in heat mode. Replaced both thermostat wire, going to the thermostat to the air handler to condenser. Worked fine. Next day, got a call back saying, hey, it's only blowing cold air. After 20 minutes of turning it on to heat mode, get there, and it seems to be working fine, like an intermittent issue. And like I just told Lee, like basically I can't tell what's going on because right now my pressures are good. Everything's wired correctly, so don't know what's going on. She asked for my boss to come out this past Tuesday. He comes out in the morning. It's not heating when we get there, because I think we got there early enough in the morning where she turned it on and it wasn't heating. It was just blowing cold air. And my boss looked at the pressures, and they weren't like terrible. Like I think it was like 62 on the low side and like 280 on my high side, something like that.
R22 system?
410A. This unit's 1 year old.
And what was your suction pressure?
It was like 60.
Is this in heat mode?
Yep.
And are you in Arizona, or where are you at?
I'm in Phoenix.
Okay. Ain't it hot there now? Or is it getting cooler?
Our high is like 68 for the day.
Okay.
But it'll drop down like 40 degrees. It was dropping down to 38. When we got there, the ambient temperature was about 50 degrees.
Okay. I figured it was warmer.
Yeah. So my boss went ahead and added a little bit of refrigerant. Like I want to say it was probably less than a pound, and it was heating fine. We sat there in front of the unit for 45 minutes watching the pressures, and everything was working fine. 2 days later, the unit is still doing the same thing. It won't stay in the heat mode for whatever reason when it turns on in the morning.
So it's just running in heat pump mode, and it won't stay in heat? Does it do anything at all? Does it run in cooling, or just a fan, or what's it do?
It runs in cool, but for whatever reason, when it goes into heating mode, it just doesn't want to like turn on the compressor or something.
Has it ever done it in front of you?
When we get there, no, that's the thing.
What kind of thermostat do they have on it?
They got a programmable Brayburn.
Who? Brayburn?
Brayburn? Yeah. One of their cheapo thermostats, like a $30 thermostat, something like that.
Now, did you ever have a shorted wire or anything? Is that why you changed the thermostat wire?
Had a shorted wire going from the can't say the name, air handler to the condenser on my reversing valve wire, because I disconnected my thermostat wire going from my thermostat to my condenser, because it's just wired straight white from the thermostat to orange on the condenser, because I don't have an orange thermostat wire, so it's white to orange. And I disconnected it from the thermostat, and I was watching my voltages outside, and it was starting to draw voltage on my orange wire. So I was getting voltage even though I wasn't connected to it.
Is O your orange wire?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is a residential split?
Yep.
Okay.
Some of the guys in
See,
chat.
what
are
makes me
saying low
wonder, I mean, I
charge.
hate saying thermostat because it's usually never the thermostat, but
It's the TXV.
no, it is not. And does the heat pump have a like a board out there that shows that it's locking out or anything like that?
Yeah, that's another weird thing is when I'm looking at the board, when I get there, it's just consistent slow flashing, which is normal status.
So it doesn't, like it's not receiving a call for it.
Yeah.
I hate
Well,
to
it's
say,
like
but it
it's not-
sounds like thermostat. I've never heard of whatever brand that thing is.
I was gonna say, what if do you have like an extra thermostat, like a Honeywell or something? You could throw
Put a
it
temporary
on there
one on
just
there to see if it eliminates it.
to
How
isolate
many
it?
days does it take for it to act up usually?
It's the next day. Like
So
it'll work
you
all
can put
day
a
and then the
temporary
next
one
day.
on there. Like that's what I would try is try a temporary thermostat just to see. I mean, that way they're not out no money. And then if it stays working, then they can pick whatever one they want.
So Rich just said he asked if the thermostat
Yeah,
was
did you check
programmed
all the days
correctly.
individually and all the different zones, like
Yeah.
you know, morning, noon, and night? That there ain't some weirdo, because half the time people don't even know how to
Yeah,
set them.
it's the same thermostat that was on the unit, the old unit that we replaced last year, and it heated all winter, and it cooled all summer, and then it just started having this shorting issue 2 weeks ago.
So you did have shorting, so I wonder if the shorting may have caused a defect in the thermostat now. Maybe that the higher amperage draw when it shorted, if it may have damaged one of the, I'm assuming it either has a relay or it has some sort of transistor in it, basically a MOSFET of some sort. I wonder if one of those was damaged. Like I blew up mine by accident when we made that video for the UV light. What did I do? I shorted one of the wires together. I didn't turn the power off. And I have a carrier, which really it ain't carrier, but it's core, COR, and it took out one of the solid state relays, and it would not send a G signal down to the furnace. So I ended up having to swap that out. Some of these thermostats have, you know, even though it has a 3 amp fuse on it, some of these thermostats just can't take a short, and then they go to crap. And I wonder if maybe that. How about this? Has she ever tried throwing it in emergency heat when it does this? Does it work then for that?
I don't think it has emergency heat.
So it's just heat pump only? No auxiliary heat?
It's just a straight heat pump. There is no auxiliary heat
They
here.
may not need it
The only
there.
time we install heat strips is like mobile homes where they're like kind of like low budget type things. We'll install a straight cool, like a package unit, and then we'll just throw heat strips in it. I've only had to do that twice.
Now,
in the
Ray
3 years I've been doing this.
Now, is that just because you're trying to be competitive and keep the price down, or is it just your area doesn't require it very often?
It just does not require it.
Okay, because I
So-
mean, we got it always, not only because of the supplemental, hold on a moment, finishing conversation. Not only for the supplemental, but also as a backup. If things go down, they at least got a backup source, and strips are so cheap. I mean, you know, a couple $100 if you're lucky. What?
And Ray said his train kept blowing a 5 amp fuse, and he found a short on the 24 volt condensed T-wire.
I mean, I've had it a lot of times on it where it'll rub through out there at the, you know, the reversing valve or one of the high pressure switches or something like that. I mean, Carrier's notorious on the old ones for doing that. But this is a new one, but not that that means a whole lot. But I wonder if that thermostat's not damaged. I mean, because I mean, she's telling you it's doing nothing, right? Completely nothing when it does
It's
this.
just blowing cold air.
Have you gotten
Blowing
her?
cold air. Condenser is not working.
She does go outside to
So
see
I
if
have
it's
her
doing
go
anything.
outside. Yeah, I tell her go outside. Is the condenser on right now when you have it calling for heat? And she says no each time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's like locked down like on pressure or what, but it's.
Yeah, that's
I
what
don't know
I'm
if like I have
wondering.
a faulty low pressure.
That's what I'm wondering if it's triggering, but I don't know what brand heat pump is it.
Trane. It's
Trane.
Trane.
Okay. So it should
condenser
have
and
a
heat-
error code or
air
something,
compressor.
right?
Yeah, but I'm just when I get there's no code on the board, and it's working fine when I get there.
Yeah, he said it's blinking like it should.
Yeah. That's what I was just wondering. I mean, I don't know Trane super good. I mean, I usually just figure them out when I get there and then have to read through and see what they've done differently. But that's what I'm wondering, if it's just not receiving a call. So I'd either try a different thermostat just for giggles, Or possibly, I mean, if you really want to get crazy, I mean, you could put little lights on it, and that way she can see that, yeah, this little light here, which could be common to Y, is receiving it, and common to O or whatever. That one's, I don't know. Trane's not energizing heat, are they?
No, they're energizing cooling.
Okay, so
which
yeah.
is why it was blowing my fuses.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, you can either do that or you can do the thermostat. I'd put like a cheap Honeywell 5000 style or something like that on there just to see if that's what's it. That way, you know, you can eliminate it. But I'm almost wondering if that stat wasn't damaged when you had that short, because I mean, it's very possible.
They're dainty.
Yep. They're wimpy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep. Yeah, because I mean, it sounds like you've already educated her enough to know what to look at. Because I mean, that's what I'll do a lot of times. I'll sit there and go through and be like, okay, this is where it comes down to your ability to ask them the right questions. You know, is this part running? Is this part running? And kind of walk through them with it. And if not, can you go look at this when it does it to help me try to find this faster for you to help you out? I'm not asking you to do my job, but I'm just asking you to do this so that I can try to find out what's going on, because we have this weird random thing. But sounds like you've already did all that, so I'm kind of wondering if by chance it's a stat. I hate saying it's a stat because it usually never is, but it sounds in this point, since you had a chart, I'm thinking you might have lost a stat.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was getting there, I was blowing 3 amp fuses 2 weeks ago, so I just left on my flipper, the resettable fuses. I just left mine on there because it was just blowing so much. Sometimes it blow like when I was messing with the wire. Sometimes it'll blow like the next day. That's why we end up running the new thermostat wire.
Alexander's saying 35 locks out the low pressure, which you were saying it was in a 68 range?
It was like 60 when we got there.
Yeah, that seems so low.
In the morning.
Let me pull up my...
Yeah, so we added about a pound, I want to say, of 410A. It wasn't much.
Was you able to check subcooling?
And we got to like, we weren't looking for that. We were just looking at the high side, low side. We're worried about a restriction either in our filter dryer or TXV or something.
Yeah, because I mean, I'll check subcooling
the...
in heat mode even, because I mean, the liquid line is a liquid line whether you're in heat or cool, and it was something I kind of learned a little bit later. Let me pull up and see what 60 is.
One of the guys in chat is asking if you are there like first thing in the morning to check the pressures, because he's wondering if by the time you get there, if it's later on, if it warms up and the pressure rises, closing off the LPS.
Yeah, that's my thing with this customer, is she is a total Karen. And
60 PSI is 8 degrees.
Definition.
You hear me? 60 PSI is 8 degrees. So, I mean, that seems really, really low. I mean, most of the time it's going to be somewhere around 100 to 90-ish. I mean, we should never focus on pressure, but more of the temperature side of things. But I would figure, you know, you might be 10 degrees under it, so that'd be like 97 pounds. So that'd be 30 degrees would be 97 pounds. I hate going off of that, but that's what the old Danfoss chart's telling me, and that sounds like it's really low.
Yeah, right now, when we charged it up, we got up to 75 PSI on the low side, and it was like I want to say like just a hair over 300 on the high side.
Yeah, 300, that would be. And the fan speed, is it kind of going moderate, like slow, fast? Because that's only 97 degrees. That sounds closer. Yeah.
I don't know how the fan speed is. It's just a normal Trane dual blade fan.
Yeah. Because, I mean, your outdoor coil is what's going to affect your suction pressure in the heat mode, and your inside. Like with Carrier, a lot of times they'll slow their blower down to get more comfort, but that drives your head pressure higher because obviously that's now your condenser. But it could do a lot higher. I mean, like on my geothermals, when I'm running like 40-degree water or something like that, I'll be running sometimes as high as 350 to 400 on my head pressure, and the suction usually could be somewhere around 100 to 120. It just depends on where we're at. I'm kind of looking at the chart here. Yeah, that'd be like 38. So it'd be like, say, 50-degree water, somewhere in that ballpark. So, because, you're going to be it's just the same thing as water or cool or whatever. I mean, there's just going to be so many degrees above or below it to kind of give you a place to start at. But yeah, I'm wondering though if it's not your thermostat.
I'm thinking it's thermostat. I did replace the TXV back in February. But when I did that, I weighed in the factory charge, and it was fine. And like I said, it's been fine from February to December.
Then how far away is the coil from the condenser? How many feet away?
It's probably about 40 feet.
So
40 feet of line set.
3/8 line probably.
It's 7/8 suction line, and I think it's 3/8 liquid line or a 1/4 inch, something like that. I can't remember.
Probably 3/8. I mean,
it's a standard line set.
okay. So you're looking at 0.6 ounces for each additional foot past probably 10 or 15 foot, whatever Trane is set up for. And at 40 feet, you probably would have needed another pound, pound and a half, something like that probably, to get it, all the way over to it. So that's what I'll do if I have to start it up in the winter is I'll just calculate it off that, which some people say R22 is like 0.6 and then 410A might be 0.65. I mean, it's minuscule, but I usually just go with 0.6 per foot for each additional foot past the factory pre-charge and kind of weigh it in that way. But that's what, I would do is just, like you said, maybe pull it all out, weigh it all in. That way the charge is right, add the extra feet for the line set. That'll be more than enough for the winter. And if you're still having your issues, but I'm thinking what you're describing, it sounds like a thermostat. What's your temperature rise across your evaporator coil when you check that?
I didn't check that. We didn't go in the house when we were doing it because she, like I said, she's a Karen. She doesn't want anyone in her house unless it is absolutely necessary. So we're just standing outside and watching the PSIs.
Nice. So she's like afraid of the COVID, or she just think you're beneath her?
Oh yeah, she's super afraid of COVID. Like I went inside when we got the thermostat wire ran. I had it running for 30 minutes. I walked in, checked it, the temperature coming out of the vent, and I had a mask on. I just held my hand up to the vent. I didn't touch anything. And her dog ran over and was like jumping on me, and she just yelled at me, hey, it's okay that he jumps on you, but don't touch him. I was like, okay, that's fine. I won't touch your dog, but it's touching me.
And you guys sold her this new system then?
Yeah, last year.
That sucks. So yeah, you're kind of stuck with her now. So yeah.
We're stuck with her for another year.
Yep.
Because we have a 2-year labor contract.
Wow. That would suck. I mean, we'll give them sometimes.
Yeah, it's required here.
What? 2 years
Arizona's
labor?
A 2-year labor contract. Yep.
Wow.
What all does that cover? Anything?
The unit, the thermostat wire wasn't covered underneath it, but she was being a total Karen, so we just ended up saying, you know what, we'll just do it.
Wow.
So Rich was asking if the Trane has a charging chart in heat mode.
Should have.
And then
Probably in the book, but I mean, I would definitely be curious, what's your temperature drop across or temperature rise across the evaporator. That kind of helps try to narrow down your airflow. Then for giggles, you can also check your drop across your condenser, believe it or not, and see if it's putting out colder air than what's going into it. So, and then, you guys have already, did you have any problems in the cooling? Was cooling fine?
Cooling was fine all year. Like I said, we get up to 120 degrees in the summer.
And it did fine.
And it was fine all winter or all summer.
Yeah,
Yep.
you would have thought that it definitely would have failed with those high temperatures out there.
Yeah. I bet that's interesting to have to size equipment for that kind of stuff. You have to go so big for it. Interesting.
Well, a 5-ton here is for 2,000 square feet, maybe 2,200, depending on how
Holy cow.
how energy efficient your house is.
Now, does that screw you when it
Rule
comes
of thumb
time
here
for
is
heat?
every 400 square feet. No, this is like the most issues I've had with a unit in 3 years. Like a brand new unit.
That's an interesting
And I've
one.
installed, I want to say, probably 20 Trane heat pump splits.
Okay.
And this is the only one I've had an issue with.
Paul, he's in Arizona.
Like, in this persistence.
Yep.
Huh?
Well, Paul asked what state you're working in. That's kind of crazy. I never heard of a 2-year labor warranty. I mean, that's it. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry has to give that out.
Yep, everyone. It's required. State contractors or whatever is required.
Wow.
I like what John McMaster said. He said, tell Karen she's fired.
Oh, dude, I wish. I can't wait to be done with her.
Yeah, that's wild. I've never heard of something like that. I mean, we'll give them a 1 year unless we sell them an extended, like say we sell high end, like all Infinity and all that stuff. Sometimes we'll do a 10-year parts and labor warranty on our high-end stuff, or whether it's the geothermal or something like that. And then we used to run it through an insurance company, but now we just self-insure it, and that usually works out okay too, because generally the parts are covered for 10 by themselves, but the labor, that's we usually self-insure on that.
And she's not going to like you
Yep.
probably going in the house to change out her thermostat, but I mean, that's kind of a good process of elimination. If you put on a new stat and then it works.
I guess it
then,
depends on how bad she likes being without heat.
Yeah, you could ask her that too.
Yeah. I mean,
Yep.
being it's not want to do it while you're there. I mean, that's kind of sucks. What's up, Knoxville? So
Yeah, so you'll have to let us know what you end up doing, and then if it fixes it, you'll have to report back next week and let us know.
Yeah, definitely. I'd be kind of curious.
Yeah,
if that's
we're
it.
gonna have another tech, because my boss's brother has his own AC company out here,
Mhm.
and he has a tech that's been working out here for 30 years. So we're gonna try to steal him this week and go out and see what he can figure something out if it's not thermostat.
Sometimes fresh eyes help.
Mm-hmm.
He may find something you weren't looking for, or you already thought you had it. I've seen that happen before. Somebody walks out and they just find it because they had different mindset. So yeah, at least you got somebody like that. That's cool. So
Yep,
cool.
it helps. But
Awesome. Well, thanks for the
yep,
report.
that's all I got.
All right, man. I
Awesome.
appreciate the
Well,
call.
thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll catch you later,
All
man.
right,
Take her
later.
easy. Yep. See ya. So.
I love
Cool.
doing phone calls.
Yep, it's kind of cool. I mean, it's kind of like everybody's just eavesdropping on us out there. I think they kind of like it. It's hard to say. People make big money on that stuff on the radio for that sort of thing. So, plus it gives you something interesting. It's real life. I mean, you're trying to see and hear what other people are dealing with, and you kind of get involved in it and see if you have some ideas and stuff. And I like that. I think it's kind of neat. So what do we got? Give them a tail light. Yeah, kind of that of the concrete warranty.
Nice.
Uh,
So John Gorthy, that's a new name I've not seen before. He said, "What's the best way to pull a vacuum?"
with a vacuum pump.
Can you put a little? Rich said to put on a full body condom and change the stat. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
We're gonna need lots of KY for that. But no, like,
I like using the, if you've ever seen any of mine, I like pulling straight from the core tool right to my vacuum pump. I didn't believe it. I mean, when I first tried it, even prior to coming to where I'm at now, I remember doing it with 3/8 hoses that you'll sometimes see me use for recovery. Those were my bigger hoses at the time. And I thought it was always a waste of time and a waste of money. And because, I mean, for, 20 years at that time, or probably 19, I have always pulled through the manifold. It's worked fine. What the hell do you need all that other stuff? Then again, I never used a micron gauge either, because every micron gauge I had, lucky if it lasted more than a month or two, and the dumb thing would always go out. I always had bad luck with micron gauges. So, but garden hose and a whole hooker, yeah.
I like John's.
I like
method.
pulling straight through that and avoid the manifold.
Can you record that for us, John, and send us that video, please? I would love to lay that in there. That'd be hilarious.
But I do have a lot of times where I valve it off and I have a rise when I don't end up having a leak. So sometimes you can chase your tail for a long time, and here it's just your valve core tool ain't working right. So you got to make sure your tools are working great. And sometimes it's hard to have something to test that on. That's why I've tried to get me like a big copper container so that I know there's no leaks in there, because I hate using a recovery tank because you could be leaking around the stem or something like that. And so I've been thinking about building me like a 4-inch by whatever long type of test chamber to test my vacuum core tools to see if they're leaking through. Because I mean, there's times where I've rebuilt them, and on the Appion, those went to crap, and that's why I like the C&D. Those have held up about the best of any of them. So, but yeah, straight off the core removal is what I like. So.
And what's your favorite vacuum to use?
I mean,
Do you have a favorite?
I like my field piece I've got just because it's easy to change, but I've heard good stuff about the JB pumps. I mean, my JB pump is one of the basic stripped down $200 ones, so it's nothing fancy. You don't have a gas ballast or anything like that on it, but it's what the company provided. So, yeah, I mean, I always was a big Robinair guy. I actually own one of my own, is a Robinair. The older ones were some of the best ones. I like those. There's just 6 CFM. They worked great for years and years.
Dave says he prefers POE oil instead of KY. I mean,
Whatever works.
whatever works for you, whatever trips your trigger.
Definitely costs a little bit more, I think. So,
Yeah, that'd be a little more expensive.
True.
And do you have to? Can you use Dawn dish soap to get that off since it's oil?
Sure, why not?
Does Dawn break that down? So if you come out looking like a duck from a oil spill, you can grease up with Dawn and.
Brake cleaner might work too.
Oh yeah, brake cleaner.
Make it burn real good.
Yeah. Hope you don't have any cuts.
Yep, no cuts. If not, it'll take out the.
So Joe Shearer said he uses a 2 foot long piece of 1 1/8 copper for his vacuum test rig. Oh, and Procy says he uses a Dyson.
Dyson's good. I like Shark myself better, but yeah,
We're Shark people.
yeah, we're Shark people.
Oh, here's a
I'll
good
have to try
question.
that, Joe.
So Knoxville is asking, have you ever worked on a hydronic system? What's the best way to get air out of the loop? He's never worked on one, and he's from the South. Do they not have those down there?
Probably not.
Is that a boiler, basically?
Yep.
Oh, well, they were on overtime last night. We're talking about boilers. Some people in the chat started getting all rowdy and excited, and I kind of feel like other people probably just don't care about boilers.
Yeah. Well, you run into that. I mean, different areas for different things. I mean, some places, geothermal's popular, and in other places like Northeast, oil's popular, and down south, it's just heat pumps. And then, like you heard Arizona saying, they don't even put freaking auxiliary heat in there for that. For us, that's crazy. We have auxiliary heat. We do dual fuel where, we'll have the gas furnace and then the heat pump, and then at 30 degrees or 20 degrees, we'll shut the heat pump off and run to the gas furnace. So different areas for different things, but freaking boilers are so expensive. I mean, it's some really nice heat. What I'll see on a lot of times is radiant in-floor heat. Have them pour it in the concrete or put it underneath the flooring and stuff like that. But as far as getting the air out, I mean, it depends on whether it's all in series or whether it's in parallel. If it's in series, I mean, it's pretty easy to put a ball valve and have a boiler drain to where you can force the water through and get good majority of it out that way. And then, if you want to spend the money, get a spiral vent. Those do a really good job. Otherwise, hopefully you've got a bleed vent at each one of the registers. It just depends on how it's laid out. If you get something called a monoflow T, which is where everything's in parallel, but they have like a little scoop in the T, and it just takes a little bit of the water off. Those can be a real pain in the butt. If you watch my one video, one of those ball valve things in there, it helped a lot, but it didn't get it all out because it had all monoflow Ts, and I hate monoflow Ts. And basically, it took a long time to get all the air out of it. So, I mean, it's just one of them things where, I mean, if you can find out how it's laid out, you'll just have to work your way around it. If you can force bleed it or power bleed it, with the way I call it. So that's the greatest way. If they're not all in parallel, even if they are in parallel, it'll still help you out quite a bit. So what's a boiler? It's a big water heater.
So I started a poll. If you want to vote on whether you would like to see some future boiler talk, you do the exclamation point vote and then type yes or no.
I mean, I ain't like, the boiler extraordinaire.
Well, I
here,
know, but we have friends that are. So
we have friends.
Someone.
How much did we spend for that?
So Dave said, yeah, you can power spray Dawn or brake cleaner. Could you imagine power spraying Dawn or brake cleaner to get all the POE oil off you?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't worry about it.
So he was saying something about he needs to change the water pump and he wants to know what to do next. Did you see that comment?
No.
Yeah.
The Taco 008, that's kind of a medium-sized one, I think, because I got to rebuild a couple Taco circulators. I don't think that's the smallest one, is it? Which one are we talking to? Is that last?
That was Knoxville.
Knoxville. I mean, if it's the cartridge pump, I mean, it's just a matter of isolating and take the cartridge out, put the new one in, no big deal. And I think even there's one above it, you can do just a cartridge, and all it is like induction. It has a stator, and then the rotor is in between there, and it induces the flux lines right through the metal container and it makes it spin. But if you ever run them dry, that's how they take them out. But on the bigger ones, you'll have like a ceramic disc in there, and you'll have a spring to replace, and that's the seal to separate the water from the pump mechanism. And it's not too bad, especially on direct coupled pumps, but there's diagrams. If you go on Taco's website, you can download them, and you can see how it's laid out. It's not too bad. The kit's maybe, $50 to $125, depending on which size it is. And, it's just change that out. I'll be doing some circulator pumps. I think they're about yay big. So I think it's like 10 to 12, 14 inch, something like that. I got two of them on it's a geothermal system on a school. I've got to rebuild one of them that's leaking, so I'll try to record that if I can. And it's not too bad. Now, on this one here, it's a 2-piece, so you got to make dang sure that you get
Like
the
a
motor
bikini?
perfectly lined up with the shaft, which is kind of sucks because you're using spacers or shims, and you got to make dang sure that thing is perfectly lined up, which can be a real pain in the butt. So you got to have a nice straight piece of metal or something to guide you and get that thing straightened up. So, but I think on an 008, I'd have to search on my phone, see which one's at Take 008.
I thought it was Taco.
Take
Never mind.
Taco, whatever.
I just saw Taco and got excited. So Dave G said he used to service all the Kmart boilers, and he said those sucked. I can only imagine how big those were.
Taco GSK 0008. Doom.
And so far, people are preferring the Dawn Power Wash than the brake cleaner.
Probably so. I wouldn't really want the brake cleaner. Or pipe cleaner, that works too. Maybe that's not the right one for it. Let's just type in Taco 008 so I know which one I'm looking at.
Tacos.
There's supplyhouse.com, 119
Oh,
bucks.
supplyhouse.com.
Oh, yeah, that's
Say
one of
it
those little
ain't
dinkies.
so.
That little burger right there. Focus. Focus. Take your eyes off. Look down.
I can't.
Look away. Look away. Look away. There you go.
Can I look now?
Yep.
Okay.
See, that camera looks for our eyeballs and focuses for it, so she's got to look away. That little burger there, man, just isolate that thing right there, and you take those 4 screws out, pop that thing off. There's an O-ring about yay big around. Drop a new cartridge in there, put it back together, bleed it out, move on. It's cake. Yeah. So, yeah, that's no big deal. That thing's easy.
So Arizona said he forgot to tell us that his thermostat wire going to his condenser was shorted out on 3 wires.
You got a screwed thermostat, dude. Change that thing.
You're screwed.
Just change it.
Change it
It's cheap.
like your underwear.
You don't even have anything. It doesn't even require a fancy thermostat. I mean, it's just freaking heat and cool. Just add an O. I mean, it's nothing. Where we run into issues when we got to have dual fuel, and we got to have outdoor sensors, or we got to have Wi-Fi to be able to know what the outdoor temperature is, so we know when to shut off and stuff. And yeah, that's just a freaking $60, $75 thermostat. Be more than enough.
So here's another Airfolts. I've not seen that name before. He was asking, have you ever worked on the big Trane IntelliPack units?
Let me search which one that is. I am not.
We just don't have a lot of Trane in
We
this
have
area.
it, but it's just not our brand. I mean, it's just.
He said he got called out to one today, and it was tripped on a low air temp limit and pushed a button to reset and made double time.
Yep,
Hey.
there it is. It's one of those big 130-ton-ish
gotta do.
areas. We've got a couple of them in some of our city buildings. I literally just took on one of our city buildings that has something just about like that, and I'll probably get some footage on that. So yeah, it's my Trane experience on commercial big stuff, like other than like the Voyager or the little stuff like, the little 20-ton and below aren't, that's no big deal. But some of this monstrous stuff there like that, I just don't run into a bunch of it, and that's going to be on energy management. And the company in town that runs that crap, they lock them people down really hard and sell them all this building automation crap, and they're stuck with them after that because the thing won't run, and they're dirty enough that they'll put codes on there and lock people out. I mean, it's a disaster.
Oh, he said it was for a surgery center.
Yep. The Trane stuff's good stuff. I mean, I ain't got no complaint with it. It's just, if you don't work on it a bunch, it's just, you're not going to be as familiar, so it's going to take a little bit longer, but it's, it's all the same crap. It gets cold or gets hot. Just how they decided to do it's the only difference.
So speaking of boiler talk.
You're welcome, Knoxville.
Do you want to share what you have to look forward to this week?
Oh, yeah, I can't wait.
You guys are just going to
it's
be
fun.
green with envy once you hear what he gets to tackle.
See, they got my cell phone number because we try to keep the same person there. So I get this phone call. Hey, how was your Christmas? Oh, it's just terrific. What do you want? So, and it's like, hey, since you shut the chiller down and it got kind of warm, it was like in the 40s, we decided to open the economizers because, we haven't spent the money for to replace our same company put in the building automation system for this place and roped-a-doped them into it, and now everything in the building don't work. So they have VAV systems, and none of them work. They got to literally go in there with the hand valves that have and literally tweak it by hand to get just the right amount of heat or the right amount of cooling. Well, they opened up the economizer and oops-a-daisy, I forgot it was going to get down to 10 and 12 degrees this week. I have 9 water coils now that are busted, so I can't wait to go there possibly tomorrow and try to start fixing these.
At least 9 of them.
Yeah. And I said, well, who's the genius that did that?
Well, you didn't say it that way, did you?
I said it's similar.
Oh, boy.
You know what? Sometimes my grandma said this a long time ago.
I really should,
No.
answer your phone calls and have those conversations with people for
You're
you.
on my time now. You called me on the weekend.
Well, he did call you on the weekend.
Yep. You're on my time.
And you're not even on call.
Nope. So, and it was, sometimes if you don't listen, you're going to have to feel. And sometimes they're going to have to feel. And the feel is going to come from the pain of having to pay big money for
this
stuff to
thing
get
is
fixed.
well past its prime anyway.
It was 1998 when all this garbage was installed, and it just plain wore out. Problem is, they've got so much of it, it's going to be mega bucks. Mega bucks. I mean, I've heard somewhere the 100,000 plus for just the controls upgrades, and it's just stupid. The Dextron unit that needs replaced, possibly $350,000 to $250,000 just for that, and it's huge. So I mean, you may have to assemble it inside the building, try to get it out. There's just certain things that just ain't good. Water damage, I don't know. I'm assuming that it came down through the suspended ceiling in certain areas. There's a couple areas where it's actually finished ceiling. I'm not looking forward to it. So I'm hoping that she sends another person to help me, because I really don't want to be there for like 3 or 4 days.
To help them come in and go through all that.
I hate being somewhere for more than a day. That's why I'll never be an installer. I just can't stand being somewhere for very long. It drives me nuts. I like to keep moving. Get in, get out, move on down the road. A couple hours there ain't bad. But man, when you're there day after day after day, it sucks. So.
Ray says that's easy, Rick. Do that before SND connection.
Huh?
Yeah.
SND.
The S&D connection? I don't know what that means.
Where's he at? I don't even see where it's at.
Ray.
Yeah.
It's right there. And then John McMaster said building engineers, LOL.
S&D. Snoop Doggy Dog connection? I have no idea what an S&D is. Supply and discharge connection, I'm assuming. Everybody likes to abbreviate.
So
it's
how
cray-cray.
How big is that boiler? Like how much water does it hold? Or is that how you determine the size? Is it how many gallons that they hold?
Oh, their boiler, that's the other funny thing. They have 2 boilers.
How big is it?
And the blower wheel on it. The boiler's, I think, 1.5 million, maybe. I think it's maybe 1.5 million BTU. It's a CDI. Once again, another brand that we don't sell. But
Isn't it older than I am though?
No, 98.
Oh, okay.
Yep. It's got a fire eye on it, which was malfunctioning nonstop. So everything's falling apart on this thing. One of the blower wheels on the boiler blew apart. We can't get nobody to build one for it. So we're going to have to sell them a new boiler. And they, it used to cycle back and forth. So those, everything in this place is just plain shot.
The blower wheel got blown up real bad.
It got busted real good.
So Ray said he'll come and help you. He did it for 3 months at a time.
You can have it.
And he said slip and drive duct connections. Slip and drive, like slip and slide, but slip and drive.
Drive, cleat, or S-lock. Those are the only 2 connections I know. So
I've never even seen slip and drive before, so that's a new one on me.
I don't know.
Sounds kind of dirty.
Sure. 7. Take 2. They're small.
Oh, Laska said search and destroy. Well, they already destroyed it, so now Rick has to do the searching.
Yeah, I'm literally hoping though they send somebody else to help, so I ain't there forever.
Alexander said, he said the slip and drive. He said, man, that's old school. So,
I mean, we got some of that stuff where you kind of bolt it together or whatever, but
yeah, he said BTU capacity. He said, hopefully someone shut the water off, Rick.
Yeah, they had valves on it, luckily, so they shut those down and isolated it. And what's funny is that didn't even happen on the main floor that the air handler's on, and that's what didn't make sense, was because the air handler, which is a Trane, didn't damage the boiler coil in there, and yet it broke it in the VAV boxes. So you've got your VAV box, which is you got your evaporator, and then you've got a boiler coil, and then you've got this little funky cone thing that screws in, screws out, or I should say it used to. It don't no more. And so basically, I'm hoping I can get to some of them and just braze them shut or something or whatever, but I have no clue what I'm getting into. So I don't know.
Well, so John McMaster's saying as long as the valves were somewhat open, the
Problem
freeze
is
stat
there's
should
no
have shut.
freaking, there's no
they didn't.
economizers. It's all being done by hand. There's no damper motors. They're gone.
Nothing.
It's all gone. Everything's gone. Everything in this whole freaking building's being done by hand. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking, I don't know how many VAV boxes they got, and they're all going around doing them by hand. It's nuts. It's just plain nuts. So
Ray said duct meat. What's duct meat?
I don't know. Not me.
Oh, Arizona said he's done slip and drive. It's easy.
Yeah, the only install I've done is residential, and that was when I first started. I hate freaking install. I can do it, I just don't like doing it. So as far as commercial install, I've never really done it. Just fixed it. We kind of keep them separated. That way, you know, you don't learn everybody else's job and stuff like that. So, yeah. So I don't do any install work at all here where I'm at. Yeah, 426 zip screws.
I like what one of the other guys asked how many zip screws he had, and it came back with like 40. Laska did, I think. He's like, lies, all lies. He's like, they come in a box of 500.
Yeah, but are they 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch? Are they 5/16? What are they? You got to give them. Are they tappers? Are they just pointed on the end?
It's just a plain old zip screw, like the kind I always find in your pocket.
You're giving them the cheap zip screw. You ain't going to give them a good one, not a tapper.
Well, you don't give me good zip screws. You just give me the cheap ones that are in your pockets.
Well, sometimes you get a 5/16 in there, a tapper on it. That's my favorite, between 1/4 and a 1/2
doubt it.
inch. Yep, inch.